The meeting is called to order. Can we have the roll?
Aaron O'Quinn,
Here.
Brian Looney,
Here.
Danielle Bailey,
Here.
Greg Strike,
Here.
Jared Gardner,
Here.
Jim Winchester,
Here.
Radhika Krishna,
Here.
Seth Anderson, Seth Anderson, Andre Spinelli is excused. Thank you.
Before we get into our regular agenda, is there a motion to reorder the agenda to move item D5 into F5? Moved by Commissioner Gardner. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Krishna. Any objection? Seeing no objection, the item is moved. Moving on to the next order of business, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Moved by Commissioner Strike. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Winchester. Any objection? Seeing no objection, the minutes are approved. Moving on to our next item of business, disclosures. Commissioner Strike, do you have any disclosures?
No disclosures, and for the record, I believe Seth Anderson has joined.
Commissioner Anderson, are you on the line?
I am on the line, and I have no disclosures for tonight's meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Commissioner Spinelli, do you have any, oh, sorry, Commissioner Spinelli's excused. Commissioner Gardner, do you have any disclosures?
No disclosures.
Commissioner O'Quinn?
No disclosures.
Commissioner Krishna?
No disclosures.
Commissioner Winchester?
No disclosures.
Commissioner Anderson?
No disclosures.
Commissioner Looney?
Yes, I have a disclosure. I did not attend the October 12 meeting, so I will be abstaining from the resolutions 2020-29 and 2020-30.
Thank you. And I have no disclosures. Moving on to our next item of business, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Krishna. Seconded by Commissioner Strike. Is there any objection? Seeing no objection, the consent agenda is approved. Going to our next item of business, F5, case 2020-0105. Staff, can we have a report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Christine Bunnell with the Long Range Planning section of the Planning Department. I'm here tonight with Director Wilbur to talk about the proposed capital improvement budget and proposed capital improvement plan. On August 10th, Director Wilbur gave an overview of the CIP process, and then he went project by project through the preliminary list at a planning and zoning work session. As we know, the funding for our programs are directly influenced by the economic situations impacting both the state and the municipality. And there is a large bond package proposed to pay for several of these projects that are included in the CIP. We distributed the full packet binder to commission members on October 13, and in that binder were a revised list of recommended projects and with an overview memo from Director Wilbur. Also, the comment response table was included in that binder and included several comments from the Planning and Zoning Commission and then comments from the Office of Management and Budget. The revised list of bond projects deleted about 9 projects from 2021 and moved them to the out years. And we would appreciate your comments and recommendations. Our recommendation from the Planning Department is that you approve this package. And I've given you some proposed findings which are in a resolution. And because this isn't a public hearing tonight, you are allowed to take a look at that resolution and see if it meets your needs tonight. And then if you do have some changes, I can make those changes for you right here. And then we can get that resolution approved tonight too, because you won't be meeting in the next couple of weeks. So with that, I will let Director Wilbur go through a few things, and then if you guys have any comments or additional questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Christine. Madam Chair, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I'm Lance Wilbur. I'm the Director of Office in Management and Budget. And as Ms. Spinell mentioned, there haven't been a lot of changes from the preliminary list that we shared with you in August. And I think this process, by allowing you more time with the proposed budget, the opportunity to review it as the administration put it together. As Ms. Spinell mentioned, there was pretty small changes that from the proposed list, from the preliminary list to the proposed list. And primarily, they were related to a delay in facility improvements, mostly in the maintenance and operation. I think there were some changes. There were many departments that were looking for some fleet upgrades. The administration has, in their proposed budget, decided to move those to the outer years. And then there were some proposed changes for improvements to the police dispatch and to the South Central Tactical Range out at Birchwood, and both of those, I believe that the proposed dispatch improvements were removed from the capital improvement program and budget, and the law enforcement tactical range improvements were postponed until 2022. As Ms. Spinell mentioned, the summation, as noted in your memo, is about a $6 million reduction in total. I think the other big project was a start on a proposed move and replacement of Fire Station 12, which is, Fire Station 12 is located at the corner of Diamond and the Seward Highway. It's in the northwest corner of the intersection. So those are primarily the changes. Everything else is pretty much the same. We'd hope that the response summary met your needs, and we really appreciate the questions that you had. This calendar that we are on, the Assembly has had one public hearing on all of the budgets, include the capital program. They will have a second public hearing on the capital program on Wednesday night, and they have scheduled a third public hearing on all the budgets on the 10th. And then they are planning to act on the capital improvement program and budget, as well as all of the other municipal budget documents, on November 17th. So I really appreciate your time. I hope that the extra time to review the documents, and then obviously the August briefing was helpful to you, as well as the maps. But if there's additional questions on why we made these changes, or any comments that we may have heard since the Planning and Zoning Commission met in August, I'd be willing to entertain those.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, just kind of a general question, and also I want to say thanks for bringing it early in August and then providing the response. That was helpful to have more time, and it's not all brand new tonight. And then the general question, just so I understand the budget process a little better, is there's certain facilities the city have that that serve the general public, like parks and public transportation and municipal buildings where offices are located. But they also have, like last year on the capital improvement budget, there was the hockey rink in Eagle River. They had some improvements, and I think one of the baseball stadiums or the parks with the baseball stadium had some improvements in it. And I was just wondering, like, are those facilities that the city maintains that are kind of for a specific use group, are they revenue generating, or are they costing money to operate?
Through the chair, thank you for the question. So I'll take those one at a time, starting from the last one first. I think I would have to defer to Parks, but I don't believe that they are revenue generating, and particularly given the current climate, many of those facilities are not operational or partially operational. For Mulcahy, as an example, while the municipality owns those facilities, we do have other individuals that help manage them, but we are responsible for making improvements. In case of the facilities out in Eagle River, you will see those projects identified in the capital improvement program, but typically those improvements are not on the bond because the Chugiak Eagle River Park Service Area, which is a separate service area, they assess themselves and then they apply part of their assessment to their operations and parts for capital. But since it's in the municipality and they are municipal facilities, we do show those as improvements, but typically the funding is in a category described as other and not under the bonds as they relate to Chugiak Eagle River Parks projects. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks. There's some, a lot of things in the budget that don't make a lot of sense, and it's nice to get some clarification on how some of the funds are being used. Thanks.
Commissioner Strike?
Yes, thank you. On the comment section also attached from our meeting on August 11th, item number 8, I had asked a question regarding the field cleats. And specifically, I was asking about steel cleats, not field cleats. And I've had the opportunity to talk to two managing Parks and Recreation departments in two major cities down here in Arizona and California, and none of them allow steel cleats on their artificial turf. And they don't know of any turf that is acceptable and that you won't void the warranty with that. So I just want to go on the record that that's probably an area that the Parks and Rec does need to re-look at again and revalidate and get in writing from Field Turf, their manufacturer, that they're going to be warranting that work if they wear the steel cleats. My experience is we have a high increase of injuries when they're allowed to use steel cleats, and the maintenance is excessive because of the rips and tears that it does. So I just want to go on the record for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Strike. It's a little muffled over on this end, and I think I caught everything except for what specific type of cleats you were referencing. Would you mind typing that in just so I know? Thank you, Commissioner Strike. Steel cleats. All right. Sorry. Over the microphone, steel and field cleats sounded very similar. Commissioner O'Quinn, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if staff could maybe comment on any impact the establishment of a storm drainage utility would have on, pretty significant items for storm drainage improvements that we see going out through 2026.
Through the chair, if I understood the question, maybe repeat the question. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Was it had to relate to a stormwater utility or had to relate to a limited road service area creating drainage improvements?
I was kind of referring to something that we considered earlier this year or advised the assembly on was the establishment of the stormwater utility and whether any of these would be items that would be covered by that.
Through the chair, thank you for the question. So a stormwater utility, what it would do is it would basically relieve the portions probably in the road bond where you have a lot of storm drain improvements. There are other other drainage improvements that are not storm drain. So as the stormwater utility would come into fruition, and depending on its roles and its responsibilities and the amount of, and its area in which the stormwater utility would be applied, it could certainly change how the capital improvement program looks for the project related to stormwater improvements by reducing it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, before I turn that over, I just want to, Commissioner Gardner.
Yeah, sorry for the slow draw there on that one. I just wanted to ask with respect to one of the comments, and I don't think this was a question that I had raised, but question number 6 about disparities between traditionally minority neighborhoods with respect to the condition of parks and other facilities. And the comment just referred to the answer number 11, which references an internal assessments and public report cards about realizing projects throughout the communities. And I was wondering if, specifically with respect to that question, if the municipality has information and knows one way or the other the relative condition of parks and facilities in neighborhoods that might be considered traditionally minority, or at the very least less affluent than other neighborhoods.
Through the chair, thank you for the question. I believe the answer to that is yes. I will confirm with Josh Duran, the Director of Parks and Recreation, but I do recall that they do a condition assessment of all of the playgrounds in the municipality, and I think that report does have a scale on how those facilities rate, whether it has to do with accessibility or age or the cover on the ground. But I can certainly provide that information to you later, but I do believe it is available, and I'll get it to Ms. Spinell to share with the Commission.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
That actually bridges into a question I was going to ask, because I do see that there are internal assessments and public report cards. I think just as a follow-up there, if we, at least from my knowledge, when the public report cards were taken, is they tend to be filled out with people that are more affluent and more able to receive and get that information. And so while I think it's good to use the public report cards, in some of those areas where it is more diverse, it might be worth looking into ways to get those public report cards out where maybe they don't have as active of a community council as some of the other ones. And so I would like to see more outreach done there to make sure that some of those other areas you kind of have to reach out to them. Any other questions for staff? I think the fact that we don't have that many questions is just and a really good, it's exemplary of the fact that I really appreciate that you came to us first. And I really think that the comment response table was very helpful in kind of guiding this discussion to kind of stay on topic with the issues we first addressed. So I want to thank you all.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Seeing as how there are no more questions for staff, what is the will of the body? I believe a proposed resolution was included, if that would be a guiding framework for someone. It is now being shared on the screen. I believe we have a motion by Commissioner Strike to adopt the resolution as stated. Commissioner Gardner, can I take your motion as a second?
Yes.
Sorry, hold on one second. sorry, I think I guided us down the wrong path. I've just been told that we have to first approve the CIP and CIB before we can move to the resolution. So would there be a motion to approve the proposed CIB and 2021 proposed CIP? I believe that is Commissioner Strike, is that a motion from you and then a second by Commissioner Looney?
You can take it either way you want. It looks like we got them both in. We got 2 seconds and 2 motions on the table.
All right. Since you chimed up speaking, you get the motion. Commissioner Looney, you get the second. Any discussion?
This is Commissioner Strike, and I would like to echo the chair's comments to the staff and the thoroughness and the process by which the commission reviewed the preliminary budgets as it was presented, getting the paperwork and the documents out to us in a very timely manner and so forth, and the adoption of the comments section that we're allowed to speak to here this evening. And I think this has accelerated and facilitated a much smoother process and transition into its acceptance. Thank you.
I would also just like to add that I think that the CIP and CIB were very reflective of what is happening with the COVID response. And I like the flexibility that the city was willing to move some stuff later in time just so that we could deal with the limited budget that we have. Commissioner Looney.
Actually, I was going to say exactly what you said, in that it's reasonable to think that based on the pandemic going on, that the projects listed and the budgets for the different departments have adjusted slightly. So that seems very reasonable to me.
Thank you, Commissioner Looney. Seeing no one else in the queue, call for a vote.
Commissioner O'Quinn? Commissioner O'Quinn? Commissioner O'Quinn? Commissioner Looney?
Yes.
Commissioner Strike?
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner?
Yes.
Commissioner Winchester?
Yes.
Commissioner Krishna?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Bailey?
Yes, and I would also like to note that Commissioner O'Quinn did hang up briefly, but they have responded in the chat that they would like to vote yes. And that passes. Now moving on to what I tried to jump ahead to. Is there a motion to a resolution recommending the approval to the Anchorage Assembly? Motion by Commissioner Strike. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Gardner. Commissioner Strike, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, I think we typically don't speak to these, but I'm good.
Thank you. I think the resolution speaks for itself and it adopts the findings that we spoke to earlier. So I have no further comments either. Call for a vote.
Commissioner O'Quinn?
Yes.
Commissioner Looney?
Yes.
Commissioner Strike?
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner?
Yes.
Commissioner Winchester?
Yes.
Commissioner Krishna?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
And Chair Bailey?
Yes,
Thank you.
and that passes as well. I would like again to thank the staff for all their time on this project. I do know that these lists it takes a lot of effort. the maps involved, the comparison tables, but all of that makes it so much easier for people like me to understand it. So I thank you for all the extra effort that you had to do to communicate that to people like me. Before we adjourn, Commissioner Strike, do you have a question?
Well, and as part of the adjournment, I just wanted to know if we had to keep thanking Mr. Looney for his continued presence, so that we didn't go short on some of our commission spots. You know, we gave him all those accolades last time, but it's good to have you back, Brian.
I could be in Wyoming shooting elk right now, but I'm not. I'm here in Anchorage freezing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which is a good segue into our next topic, since Commissioner Looney will eventually be leaving us. We did have a volunteer from Commissioner Winchester to take over his position on the AMATS committee, so I would like to officially just thank Commissioner Winchester for stepping up to the plate and for working on that issue. I will let you discuss that information with Commissioner Looney as needed.
Perfect. This is Commissioner Looney. I'll make sure he knows the secret handshake and things like that. And like I said earlier, the group, the AMATS Citizens Group, meets 3 to 4 to 5 times a year, so it's not near the commitment as the PZC. But I
took the easy one.
Okay, but I'll work with you on the side to get that going. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
All right, thank you all. Just a reminder, we do not have a meeting next Monday, so we won't be seeing each other, or I guess we're not really seeing each other right now anyways, but we won't be hearing each other until December. Is there a motion to adjourn? Commissioner Strike, I'm counting the hand. Commissioner Winchester already was typing in second because he knew he wasn't going to get the first. I think that we can now officially adjourn. Thank you all.